What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Michael Mars Show. Today is Wednesday, January 5th, 2022. This episode 72, and we got a great episode for you today. I'm joined by Camaron Cheeseman, long snapper for the Washington football team, rocks number 54. And as a long-term Washington fan, dude, it's a pleasure to have you on, bro.
Dude, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here, bro.
Of course, man. First question I got for you, or first topic, drafted in the 6th round of the 2021 NFL draft. What was the draft process like for you from the combine, pro day, and ultimately getting the phone call from Washington?
So for me, it started, I actually didn't play last year, and a lot of people didn't really know that. So my last college football season was 2019. And after that season ended, that was my 4th season. And I actually redshirted my freshman year. So I technically had a 5th year of eligibility. So after our last game against Alabama, I'm thinking about, all right, my 5th year's coming around. I know I want to come back because with my hopes of playing in the NFL, I'm like, it'll be good to have one more season playing, for Michigan in the Big Ten. So after that season ended, there's that period where we got to go home for a little bit. And then winter workout started again for the 2020 season. So I come back working out and I'm talking with Coach Harbaugh and stuff. February, you remember February 2020, that's kind of when COVID started to, come about. And we didn't think it was that serious, as a country. I feel like we were kind of like, all right, let's just take it day by day. And that was went on vacation in March, things were going good. And then the lockdown and everything happened. So they sent us home for a couple months. So I went back to Columbus, was training, for the college football season. And when we got back in the summer, I was talking with Coach Harbaugh and some of the other coaches, and I told him, I was like, this is my 5th year. I have all the classes I need to graduate. In order for me to come back and play my 5th year, I do need a scholarship again. I was scholarship the last 2 years, so they told me, they're like, right now we don't have a scholarship for you. And I knew that, kind of going into that conversation with years prior, it was kind of the same thing. Me coming into Michigan as a preferred walk-on. You have to get it on a year-to-year basis. So the time came. It was about August, and I think that's when they canceled the Big Ten season. And I went to Coach Harbaugh. I was like, "Am I going to be, on scholarship? And is there a scholarship available?" And he said that there wasn't. And I told him, well, given the fact that the Big Ten season's canceled for the fall, do you think there's going to be a spring semester? Do you think I could be on scholarship for that? And he said, not at the time, like there was no scholarship to give me. So I was like, well, pretty much that was it for me at Michigan. So I went home, back to Columbus. I decided, this is it for my college career. I'm going to just start training now for the NFL. A couple weeks home, they brought the Big Ten season back. Now I didn't have a scholarship, but, seeing those guys playing, I was like, oh, I wish I could have been there. It was tough. But, I continued training, got with my agent that I signed with in December. And that's when really that pro pre-draft process started for me heavily. I was training, working out in Columbus. And then I think our pro day was our pro day was March maybe. So I trained January, February for that, played in the Senior Bowl. I was very fortunate enough to get that invite, and then went back to Michigan, which was definitely weird not playing the year before, but being back there with all the guys, and I did my pro day. And then that time between pro day and the draft was really nice because it actually gave me a chance to relax. Mm-hmm. I got to travel, went to Florida, visit my grandparents, kind of unwind. But it was a waiting game after that, with being a draftable prospect and, a senior coming out of college. You have all these conversations with all these coaches and scouts. And they can be, very, detailed, and you can get nervous. You're like, is this team want me? Do they not? Are they just reaching out because, they just want to get information? I mean, I heard from over half of pretty much all the NFL teams in some way or another, whether it was just a scout or something reaching out for information. But after that, let's see. April rolled around. I'm having these Zoom calls with these coaches and scouts continue to happen. And then, you don't definitely like exactly know where you're going. Like a lot of teams, a few teams, like 2 or 3 will express like a lot of interest. And for me, that was one. Washington, I knew they were high on the board as far as looking for a long snapper. So the draft came and bam, like so I knew Washington had at the time like 2 7th-round picks, I think. But I don't think they had any 6th-round picks. So I was like, there may be a chance I might go in the 7th round. If not, I could be going after the draft, signing an undrafted free agent deal, with Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. So a long snapper, it was the first year in NFL history, 2 long snappers were drafted. So Thomas Fletcher from Alabama, he was drafted, I believe, 2 picks before me by Carolina. And when that happened, I was like, oh, like definitely, it stung a little bit. But at that time I knew, it looks like I'm probably going to be going to Washington. But once that pick was made, Washington didn't have a 6th-round pick yet. They still had 2 in the 7th. Well, I'm looking at, a little like thing at the bottom where it shows who's drafting next. I'm sitting at home with like 30, 40 of my family members, family and friends. And I see Washington, like, it changed. It like pops up like they're on the clock.
They traded? Yeah.
Yeah, they traded with Philly. And then I got a phone call from Virginia. I think it was maybe Ashburn, Virginia it was, yeah. And I was like, there it is. Like I was running outside, like telling like some of my family, I'm like, it's them. Had them come inside. It was Coach Rivera on the phone. And that was amazing. Like that, like having that feeling, like, working so hard for that. But they made the pick. Coach Rivera told me I was coming to Washington and told my family. Everyone was going nuts.
And that's such a cool experience, dude.
Oh, dude, it was. And it was funny because once he told me, like, all right, some guys are going to be calling you. And immediately, I wouldn't say 10 minutes after, like, I was drafted officially, I was on, like, media calls, Zoom calls, like, right after. And it was good, because I loved it. I was like, all right, like these are fun. But at the same time, I hear all my family members in the other room, in the living room, like
going nuts,
screaming. And I'm just like, oh, I just want to like enjoy that real quick with them. But it was good. I came out and everyone was we were taking pictures and, it was awesome. And then here we are today. So
did you do any private workouts for teams? Like besides your, like the combine and besides the pro day at Michigan, did you do any private workouts?
So I did not. And this year, I think in particular, it was a lot more difficult just with the COVID precautions and stuff going on. But I see that probably will happen more in the next couple of years, just going back to the way it was. But yeah, I didn't have anything pre-draft. And
nice. Well, you're obviously a rookie. We still got 1 game left in the season, but since you've been drafted, what are a few standout memories that you've had or that have stuck with you since joining the league?
Dude, I mean, it's crazy. Just like how fast the season flew by. I know Tress and Hop, they would always tell me, I remember like day 1 and like OTAs, they were telling me like this season will fly by. And it did, like just not having to deal with like all of my class load and like all that work and stuff on the side with football, like in college. Dude, it flew by like faster than I thought. But I would say like just building memories, like going to the different stadiums and definitely like seeing like how it's different from college. But I do believe like I was prepped very well going through the Michigan program with Coach Harbaugh, just with his NFL background. That was something he really like emphasized, was like that business like NFL like platform, which I think it allowed me to kind of, pick up things quicker once I got here. I got to give a lot of credit to like all my side coaches, like special teams coordinators at Michigan, setting me up for success here. But yeah, just meeting all the all my new teammates. I remember walking on day 1 and I like forgot that I had to learn 50, 60 guys, all their names, faces. And I'm just like, I don't even know how I did that at Michigan. Cause by the time I left Michigan, I pretty much knew everybody. So that was definitely a fun thing I had to work through.
Well, that kind of partially ties into my next question, which was since you've been in the NFL, what player, team, or stadium are you really looking forward to playing in the future next season, or like which one is really special that you already played in?
I think a team that really excited me was actually our opener against the Chargers, because I grew up a Chargers fan. Even though I grew up in Columbus, I grew up a Chargers fan. That was the LaDainian Tomlinson, Antonio Gates,
LT, baby.
And I just really like the lightning bolt, you know, their whole mascot and everything like that. But speaking on that, that is actually one stadium I'm excited to play in. I don't believe we play there next year, but in my years to come, playing at SoFi, I believe it's called.
SoFi.
Out there in LA, I think that's gonna be one stadium I'm gonna really enjoy. This year, you know, I played in the Falcons, Miami, Tampa back in college, and then Dallas too. I got to play those stadiums in college. But my favorite stadium this year was definitely the Vegas
Allegiant.
Yeah, that was sweet, and especially like when we came in off the plane, you know, you see the strip, and then like right behind the strip is the stadium, and it was like, this is sick. Like,
yeah, I was actually vacationing in Vegas like a year and a half ago during the COVID season, and the hotel I was at overlooked Allegiant Stadium, and I was like, dude, one day I got to see my Skins play there, bro. I was like, that needs to happen. It's such a cool looking stadium,
and it was grass too, and I didn't think. I was like, it's grass, like it's an indoor stadium, and that was something cool too to see that.
What's kind of wild is they actually, I think Arizona does this and Vegas does this. They roll the grass out and like give it sunlight and then push it back into the stadium like periodically, which I think is crazy. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Now another question I got for you is what's going through your mind before big special teams play? Like, are you is there a lot of conversation between you and you know, the people that you're working with, or is it kind of you guys are just like mind your own, getting ready for the play?
Yeah, so this was actually our game against the Giants this year when we kicked the game winner. That was actually my first ever snap, like a last second end of the game winning kick of my career, like college included. So that was definitely a first, and that was, I guess, a confidence booster moving forward after that. But our approach to like a big kick like that, it's, you know, you'd think it'd be different, but in all reality, it is the same mentality as just an extra point at the beginning of the game. We do our same thing, you know, Tress and I, we get some warm-up snaps on the sideline, you know, get things loose, you know, make sure we're good to go. But besides that, for the most part, me, kicker, and the punter, we usually don't talk that much. You know, we kind of just get in our zone, you know, pay attention to the game, you know, kind of watch what the situation is. You know, you got to trust yourself when you go out there and kind of just think of it as any other snap. You know, it's no different than one you do at practice, you know, on a Wednesday. You know, it's the same thing. And I get for me, that's what helps me, you know, overcome, you know, any fear, nervousness that I may have. So,
yeah. And this is kind of a random question, but I guess it kind of ties in. When you're doing like 2-minute drills at practice, like what's the intensity like compared to, obviously, game like situation is a lot more intense because like there's a lot more on the line, but how is it replicated in practice?
Yeah, so we actually don't run any 2-minute like end of the game like simulations in our practice. I think we did do one maybe back over the summer, but that's the thing. Like, I guess I don't know if it's our team or if other teams do that, but yeah, we pretty much, our practice routine's pretty simple. We might have one live field goal, you know, session as a team a week, where I'll get, you know, 6 or 7 short snaps in a 3-minute period. And that's the thing that differs from games is when you're in practice, you're taking these reps over and over again. And sometimes it can be hard to, you know, maintain that sense of focus. Like, all right, this snap, like here it is. Because when you get into a game, all the build up on the sideline, watch the team drive down the field, bam, you go out there for one snap. And, you know, that's the most important play is that next play. So trying to mimic that in practice and trying to think, all right, this is the snap that counts. Treat this one like a game rep. That's what allows me to kind of move that over to the games is, this is the snap that matters. This is one snap. And we go from there.
Nice. Well, this is a throwback question, but you attended Lincoln High School in Ohio. Quick shout out to the Ohio boys, Tanner, Narcisse, Jack. I went on vacation, went on a ski trip with them. Yeah, the boys. So a big shout out to them. But yeah, attended Lincoln High School in Ohio, committed to Michigan in December of 2015, rock number 33 for the Wolverines. Was Michigan an easy choice for you to commit to? And what other schools were you choosing between at the time?
Yeah, it's funny. And I love talking about this because people, if they don't know, I'm from Columbus, Ohio. So growing up, I was born to hate Michigan. Like my family, Ohio State all the way. We don't like Michigan. And as I got older, as Ohio State got really good, I would always watch them on TV with families at parties, get-togethers, and they'd play like so good. I was like, I want a team to give them a game. And I found myself rooting for the other team towards like my sophomore, junior year of high school. So when it came time, it wasn't until like December, January when Michigan actually reached out to me. But it was crazy because Ohio State, they didn't reach out to me at all. They got a guy on scholarship a year prior to me. So they weren't necessarily looking for another snapper to bring in. Mm-hmm. So I was actually, my top two schools were Michigan and Central Michigan. And I was on my way up to Central Michigan to commit to them. And I stopped at Michigan again before that because it was right on the way, 3 hours Ann Arbor, 5 hours Central Michigan, and they're literally in a straight line from Columbus. Brought my dad, my parents, stopped at Michigan one more time. And I was just sitting there and I was like, I grew up like an Ohio State fan watching the game, and the opportunity to be able to like play in this game is right here in front of me. Now, both of those opportunities were preferred walk-ons. So at that point, they were kind of like even, in that regard. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I got to go to Michigan. I was like, this is like Big Ten football. So they told me like, wait, you're going to Central Michigan. Like, if this is still what you want to do, come back down tomorrow and like let us know. So came back down to Michigan and I committed that next day. So
nice, dude. And what were like, obviously the atmosphere was mad, but playing at the Shoe or playing at the Big House in some of those like massive Big Ten rivalries, like what were those atmospheres like?
Well, when we played at Ohio State, I always tell people this is the most at home but foreign place I feel like I've ever been, because when I ran out onto the field, it was just booze, obviously. Mm-hmm. But it was so cool. Like playing, like that was a dream of mine, is playing it in Ohio State Stadium. But being able to do it in the game, like I couldn't have asked for a better opportunity. But the Big House, 110,000 fans, like you can't beat that. Like biggest stage in college football.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. It was fun.
I think Big Ten football is the best. I mean, obviously between like SEC, Big Ten, but those like two conferences, all those games are always crazy. But really? On a side note, you were also planning to be a dentist after your NFL career. Right. Scored in the 92nd percentile on your admissions test, which is crazy impressive. When and how did you become passionate about dentistry?
Yeah, so I always wanted to be in the medical field. Growing up, I remember the first thing I ever wanted to do was a heart surgeon. I remember Googling as a kid, what job makes the most money?
Yeah.
And it was like a surgeon like that, brain heart surgeon. So I was like, that's what I want to do. But, as I got older, playing the sports I did, I experienced so many different injuries. And I kind of was like, all right, like medicine, this is cool. Like I was fascinated by just orthopedics and like fixing the body and how the body worked. And I always loved science and math classes growing up, elementary through middle school and high school. Mm-hmm. So got to college and I found emergency medicine once I got into college, like really cool. I was watching the shows, like the hospital shows where people are being rushed into the ER with like craziest injuries. And I was like, I want to be a part of that. So I actually got an opportunity to shadow at a hospital in Michigan. Spent a day there. And let's just say when I left, the things I saw, I left and I said, I am not going to do that. because I left and I'm like, all that stuff that happened, like that's real life. Like all the people I saw, like those are real people, like that, like emotionally, like mentally, like
A little
freaked
traumatic.
me out. I was like, I don't want to be a part of that. So I was like talking to my parents, like, what else could I do? And I started researching like dentistry and stuff like that. And, I really found it fascinating and connected with some alumni and orthodontists in Michigan at Michigan's campus. Jim McNamara, who basically became a mentor to me, and I got to work with him and actually got co-published with him on a research article that fixes the underbites. It's called the Carrier Appliance. And I got published in that too. So, and I just fell in love with it from there. So it was fun. I enjoyed it and studied a lot for the dental exam, and I'm happy how I did. But I'm hoping I'm going to have to retake that because I've made a career in football. So
What are some things that you really enjoy doing outside of football?
yeah. So first off, as I've been here, I've been starting to golf more.
Shout out.
The NFL,
Love
the
it.
NFL life is me snapping and me golfing whenever I get an opportunity. I also love to go camping. My family, we've gone camping pretty much my whole life. I love doing that. Love traveling different places. And really like watching movies. Like I love movies. I love a good, Netflix show and stuff like that when I get some free time. And I love like pretty much a lot of things with cars too. My dad's drag raced my whole life. I love going to, drag races and stuff like that. Whenever I'm home with him. But yeah, I used to play baseball too. So
Nice. Did you play that in high school?
Yeah, I did. So
what position?
I was a pitcher, and actually that's what I thought I was going to do in college. Really up until my senior year, I was like, all right, football probably not going to work, and found my my game, with long snapping. So
Nice.
But yeah, I was a pitcher.
So when you played high school football, what other positions did you play? Were you just primarily snapper, or did you also play a little bit of defense?
I played center. I was our starting center there my senior year. And yeah, I was actually pretty much one of the only ones who could snap and block at the same time. So they kind of were like, you got to play here. We need you here. And I was like, that's cool. Like I already long snap now. So
perfect.
Yeah, but I actually didn't letter until my varsity year or my senior year. I didn't letter until my senior year.
One of the final questions I got for you before we wrap up, and only if you're comfortable talking about it, but what are your thoughts on the Washington football team getting a new team name? And like, what is the excitement amongst the boys in the locker room about the new team name?
So growing up, it's always the Washington Redskins. I always grew up to who they were. So I guess when I found out they're becoming the Washington football team, I kind of thought it was cool, like a cool name, like just the Washington football team. It's like simple, it's to the point, it's like it's the football team. But yeah, as we go here in the next month or so, we're gonna get our new name. Like I'm hyped, like I'm excited, not only for like the organization, like we're gonna have a new name, but like for the gear. Like
the gear looks sick. Cool.
But I also feel bad because I just started getting people jerseys, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to get all new ones for everyone, with how the new jersey looks and stuff. But yeah, we're all excited in the locker room. It's gonna feel like a fresh start in a sense. Mm-hmm. Whatever we had like in the past, like this is our team to start a new legacy, with whatever the name may be. But we're still gonna be the same team at heart. Same dedication, same drive. So
yeah,
we're excited, and none of the players know.
Really, that's all. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you guys had to keep it a secret or if you guys just completely left that.
We don't know. Only a few, from what I know, only a few people know.
Wow.
So yeah, we don't know. We all throw around like options of what everyone thinks it's going to be, but
yeah, the speculation on Twitter is hilarious. Like there was like a video of like Ron Rivera opening up a helmet in the office, and people are like zooming in on the glare off the window, and they're like, "Oh, that looks like a W," or "It looks like this."
Yeah, people are trying to like come up with these conspiracy theories and like say, "Oh, this has to be the like researching stuff about a color or something." It's like, oh, okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, some of the concepts that that I saw like included like an all black alternate jersey, because I think the NFL is allowing like one new alternate jersey, because I know the NBA does it crazy. Like almost every game they're wearing a new jersey out there, but the NFL has been kind of standard with colors. So I'm excited for that. And also, like, as a Washington fan, it's an exciting time because hopefully also in the coming years we'll get a new stadium. So
yeah,
that's
I'm excited.
yeah.
Hopefully in my career.
What is one piece of advice that you could give to everyone watching or listening?
It's a good question. I would say basically a motto I live by, because actually my junior year of high school, I was at the point where, like I said, with baseball, I almost just wanted to focus on baseball. And I was like, that's what I want to do in college. And I was like, I'm about to give up football. I was like, I don't want to play football anymore. You know, I talked to my family and they're like, no, like, you played your whole life. Like, you're going to play football. Like, you have a lot of potential. Like, just do it one more year. Just have fun. So my motto that, like, I've gone by, like, throughout my whole career, if I can speak this correctly, is you'd rather say, I can't believe I did that, than I wish I did that. You know, so like with me, I mean, for everyone, you know, that's listening, it's don't be afraid to try something and fail. You know, you just want to go out there and do what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, you'd rather say that. You'd say, I can't believe I tried that. I failed, but like, it sucks. I failed. But at the flip side of that, 5 years down the road, you don't want to be saying, man, I wish I would have done that. Like, I wish I would have had that opportunity, seen it through, and like gave it a shot.
I think that's great advice, man.
Yeah, dude. Just live life day by day, you know.
Awesome, dude. I completely agree with that advice. Everyone, scroll down below. Follow Camaron on Instagram at CamCheese33. It'll be, like I said, below in the description. Any other places, platforms people can follow you at or shout outs?
I think my Twitter is the same.
Okay.
Cheese33, I think.
Yeah, I'll have it all in the description. So if anyone's listening, just scroll down below, check it out. Make sure to give them a follow. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please rate 5 stars and give a review. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. It was an absolute honor talking to you, Camaron. First episode with a Washington football team player. And I've been a fan my whole life. So it's an absolute honor for me, man.
Yeah, man. It was a pleasure, bro. I appreciate you having me on, dude. It's been fun.
Of course, man. Anytime. Look forward to keeping in touch with you. But today was Wednesday, January 5th, 2022. This is episode 72. I was joined by Camaron Cheeseman, long snapper for the Washington football team. I'm your host of this show, Michael Marr, and I'll see you guys next week.